Welcome back to this deep dive where we analyze, well, complex conversations to give you the clearest path to natural fluency.
Right. We take real-life dialogues, real source material, and we really unpack every key phrase.
Today, we are diving into something I think everyone experiences, regardless of culture. But it relies on such delicate language.
Oh, absolutely.
How do you express romantic feelings? And maybe more importantly, how do you ask someone to go from being just a friend to something more?
It's the language of love and dating, and it is just full of nuance.
You are listening to Native Ear, the channel that's really dedicated to giving you the essential tools you need for effortless daily English conversation. So what are the concrete results we're working toward today?
Well, by the end of this deep dive, you'll have a really solid understanding of these natural, kind of emotional American English phrases.
And you'll be able to recognize them, use them to express strong feelings, manage surprise.
And just initiate those critical conversations about relationships, and all of that without the fear of confusion or, sounding unnatural.
Exactly. This knowledge is just fundamental for truly connecting with native speakers on a social level. And to guide us through this high-stakes linguistic territory, I'm delighted to welcome our expert instructor.
Thank you. I am really looking forward to this. When emotions get involved, language can get, it can get messy.
It really can.
So our job is to clean up that language and show you exactly how native speakers use these powerful, direct expressions in moments that really matter.
That is the mission. Now, let's start with an opening question, something for you, the listener, to sort of mull over.
Okay.
Have you ever been genuinely surprised when a friend suddenly wanted to become more than just a friend?
Ooh, that's a good one. What specific words did they use, or what actions did they take to indicate that shift?
And how did you navigate that surprise? So while you're thinking about your own experiences, please remember to like this deep dive, subscribe to Native Ear, and of course, share our channel with your family and friends.
When you share us, you make sure that they never miss one of our useful deep dives, all designed to clarify everyday American English.
Our goal today is precision. We're analyzing a complete English dialogue that focuses on a confession. That moment, someone admits their deep feelings.
And we will break down every key component so you grasp not just the definition, but the emotional and social weight they carry.
Okay, let's set the scene for the dialogue we are about to analyze.
Right.
This scenario, it captures a very intense, but I think a very common real-life moment.
It really does.
We have a man who has planned a dinner with Jennifer. She believes it's, a casual thing, maybe a group setting.
But he's changed the dynamic completely.
Completely. He's arranged for a special, exclusive dinner because he needs to ask her a life-changing question.
It's the linguistic equivalent of a high-wire act, really. He is risking their friendship by confessing these romantic feelings.
So as we read the dialogue, you should pay close attention to the use of hesitation. And just that subtle shift in power as the woman realizes the evening is not what she expected.
Right.
We'll read this slowly and clearly now so you can really absorb the flow of the conversation and the mood of the moment. Hey, you're early. Where is everyone?
Well, I told them not to come. I made a reservation just for the two of us. I thought we could have a quiet evening all to ourselves.
Oh, why? Jennifer, there's something I want to ask you.
Sure. What is it?
Okay, here's the thing. I've always seen you as more than just a friend, and I can't take it anymore. I know you better than anyone. I know the pros and cons of your personality. I even know what side of the bed is yours. I think we would be great together, don't you?
Are you serious? We've been friends for years. We can't just change that overnight.
I know. I never had the guts to tell you until today. So what do you say? Are you willing to give me a shot?
All right. What a moment. I mean, the speaker who arranged the dinner, he certainly just jumped right into the deep end there.
No kidding.
My immediate observation is just the pure shock in Jennifer's voice. She goes from the simple question, where is everyone, to just total disbelief.
Are you serious?
Exactly. Absolutely. The man's opening lines, they immediately transform the atmosphere. It goes from casual friendship to this intense intimacy.
And he signals the importance of it so clearly. First, by removing all the distractions.
Right. Just for the two of us, all to ourselves.
And second, by using this powerful, non-negotiable emotional language. That phrase, I can't take it anymore.
So powerful.
The language here is just, it's perfectly constructed for this kind of dramatic shift in a relationship.
It avoids all that, flowery, formal language and goes straight for direct.
Almost desperate honesty.
Yes. And it's that raw honesty that makes these phrases so effective and well, so important for you to understand.
And that is exactly where we need to focus.
We are extracting 8 core phrases that allow speakers to introduce a difficult topic, express extreme frustration, define their perception of a relationship.
And finally, ask for a chance at something new.
Let's now move into our fluency builder section. We're going to take those powerful emotional phrases used in that dialogue and really analyze them.
And remember, our goal is to show you not just the meaning, but the right social context for using these expressions in everyday conversation.
So first up.
The first phrase we need to dissect is that verbal signpost. Here's the thing.
Right. He used it to preface his entire declaration. Okay, here's the thing. I've always seen you as more than just a friend.
So defining this phrase clearly, it's an extremely common way to just pause the conversation.
Yeah.
And signal to your listener that you are about to share the main problem or a really critical piece of information.
For just a serious topic, it's an attention getter.
Totally.
I really appreciate how this phrase works as a kind of cognitive tool.
Right.
It buys the speaker a moment to gather their thoughts for something difficult.
Right. But socially, it tells the listener to brace for impact.
Exactly. It's a polite way of saying, stop what you're doing, stop thinking about dinner, because this next thing changes everything.
Precisely. If you just launch into a difficult topic, the listener might miss the importance.
Here's the thing. Acts like a verbal highlighter.
That's a great way to put it. So let's look at a detailed real-life example where you might use this to convey some painful news or maybe a necessary criticism.
Okay, imagine you have to give some bad news to a colleague. You might start with, all right, here's the thing. People don't like your new presentation style, and it's hurting the team's morale.
Ooh.
Yeah. But notice the weight of that.
Ugh.
By starting with, here's the thing, you're communicating that this information is essential, it's non-negotiable, and it needs serious consideration, even if it's unpleasant.
You are setting up a difficult explanation that just cannot be avoided.
Right.
And we can contrast that with a more professional sort of problem-solving scenario like we saw in the source material. Imagine a tight deadline at work.
Okay.
You might say, Marco, here's the thing. We're critically behind in our podcasting schedule. We have to work overtime tonight and potentially this weekend.
In that context, here's the thing, introduces that fundamental obstacle being behind that requires immediate, drastic action.
Which is working overtime. It ensures the listener understands the core issue before you even propose the solution or the demand. It's a direct route to the truth of the situation.
The listener knows instantly this is the reason for what's coming next.
Exactly.
It's just such a versatile phrase. If you are ever struggling with how to smoothly transition into a hard topic, just use those 4 simple words.
Here's the thing.
It immediately gives you social permission to be direct.
Okay, moving from that transition phrase to one that expresses an ultimate emotional limit. I can't take it anymore.
So powerful. The man in the dialogue uses this to explain that his frustration, his inability to stay just friends while feeling love, has reached its breaking point.
The definition is absolute. It means you are completely unable to stand, endure, or tolerate a situation any longer.
You have reached peak frustration, peak stress.
It signifies a necessary breaking point, and it often justifies a major, sudden life change.
You know, the rhetorical function of this phrase is so fascinating. It justifies drastic action.
How so?
By saying, I can't take it anymore, you're telling the listener, I am not being dramatic, I am acting out of necessity. It's a verbal countdown clock that just hit 0.
I like that. A countdown clock. Let's look at 3 detailed examples, focusing on different types of frustration. The first is frustration with an external, persistent nuisance.
Okay, example 1. The man next door has been playing loud music and screaming every night for 3 months. I can't take it anymore, I'm going to call the police.
So that clearly shows that the noise has moved past just being an annoyance to being utterly intolerable.
Right, and it justifies that extreme step of calling the authorities.
The usage here is intense. Now let's consider a longer-term stressor, like, say, poor treatment at work.
Oh.
Example 2. My boss constantly yells at me in front of clients and criticizes my work unfairly. I can't take it anymore.
And this shows that the emotional and professional abuse has exceeded what that person is willing to endure.
Yeah, the phrase signals to the listener that they should expect a resignation or maybe a confrontation very soon.
And finally, linking the phrase directly to a major decision. The frustration is so absolute that it forces an immediate resolution.
Right.
Example 3, the pressure from school, the demands from my part-time job, and the fighting at home. I can't take it anymore. I'm going to quit the job and just focus on my studies.
This usage ties that intense feeling directly to a final, concrete decision. It's the definitive declaration that the person has reached their emotional capacity.
And they need a clean break.
In our dating dialogue, the man's emotional limit had been reached. He was basically saying, the strain of pretending to be just your friend has destroyed me, and I must make a change, even if it risks everything.
That's the power of I can't take it anymore.
Mm.
Our third key phrase is Jennifer's immediate reaction to the confession. Are you serious?
And this phrase just expresses total disbelief and surprise.
Fundamentally, this is the simple, informal American English way of saying, really? Or is that true?
You use it when something is so amazing, so incredible, or just so unexpected that it's genuinely hard to process, hard to believe.
It is important to remember the context of usage, though.
Right. While it's universally understood, are you serious is highly informal.
Very common among friends, colleagues, family.
But we generally avoid using it in a very formal or professional business context. You might say something like, can you confirm that information? Instead.
Or is that indeed the case?
Exactly.
The beauty of are you serious lies in its versatility. I mean, depending on your vocal inflection, it can express negative disbelief, amazement, or even shocked happiness.
Let's explore 3 examples that show that range.
Example 1, disbelief at a sudden negative change. You sold your apartment and decided to leave the country next week. Are you serious? Why the sudden rush?
Here, the tone is one of confused urgency. You're seeking confirmation because the change is just baffling and so immediate.
Right. And example 2, reacting to positive, truly incredible news. You won the lottery. $50 million? Are you serious?
This expresses amazement and excitement. The news is wonderful, but the speaker needs to confirm the reality because it just seems too good to be true.
And a third example, reacting to a surprising demand or maybe an unreasonable request.
Yeah.
You want me to finish 3 weeks of work in 1 day? Are you serious?
And in this scenario, the phrase is rhetorical.
Totally. The speaker isn't actually asking for confirmation. They're expressing profound indignation or protest that the request is absurd.
That's a great point. And Jennifer's use in the dialogue, are you serious? We've been friends for years. It kind of falls between that confused urgency and protest.
She's just overwhelmed by the suddenness and the magnitude of the change being proposed to their long-standing relationship.
It perfectly captures that emotional chaos of being blindsided.
It really does.
Our 4th emotional phrase defines the effort required to make the confession. To have the guts. The speaker admitted, I never had the guts to tell you until today.
To have the guts. It's an idiomatic way of saying you possess the necessary bravery or courage to do something that is difficult, risky, or frightening.
It inherently implies overcoming a significant internal hurdle. Fear, anxiety, something like that.
Let's pause here for a fascinating linguistic detail that I think helps cement the meaning. The word guts literally means your internal organs, your stomach, intestines.
Your viscera.
Exactly. And in many cultures, the seat of courage is believed to be in the abdomen or the heart. So when you are brave, you metaphorically have guts.
It suggests strength originating from a deep internal place, not just some superficial willingness.
And the opposite, not having the guts, just means the fear is too strong to overcome. Let's analyze 3 common fears addressed by this phrase.
Okay.
Example 1, lacking courage for a risky physical activity. I want to try it, but I just don't have the guts to go skydiving. That seems too dangerous.
So this addresses pure physical fear and the lack of willingness to take a significant bodily risk.
Right. Example 2, lacking the courage related to public scrutiny or performance anxiety.
So, the audition for the play was today, but I canceled. I don't have the guts to give a speech or perform in front of 1,000 people.
This relates to social anxiety, the fear of judgment, or just the mental effort required for public exposure.
And example 3, lacking the courage to set boundaries or challenge authority.
You might say, I saw the mistake in the contract, but I never had the guts to say no to my boss or correct his error.
And this describes a failure to assert oneself, often due to fear of professional repercussions or just conflict.
In the dialogue, the man needed the guts to risk his friendship. The decision to tell Jennifer he loved her was difficult because the consequence of rejection meant, well, losing her entirely.
He finally gathered that internal strength, the guts, to make that leap. Understanding this phrase helps you articulate why difficult actions remain undone.
We've completed our analysis of the intense emotional language. Now we're going to shift to 4 situational phrases.
These are essential for establishing context, defining the setting, and clarifying the boundaries of a relationship. They help shape the reality of the conversation.
Let's revisit the beginning of the dialogue, where the man used the phrase, "I made a reservation just for the two of us."
This construction is so simple but so powerful. It means you and me, or only us.
In the context of the dinner, it functions to emphasize exclusivity and privacy.
Right. By using just for the two of us, he instantly tells Jennifer that this evening is not some casual group event.
It's private, it's important, and it's focused solely on them.
And the conversational power of this structure, it lies in its versatility across different numbers and pronouns. It always enforces that limit.
It's used constantly to define the boundaries of interaction.
Yeah, for instance, if you're discussing a confidential business matter, you might enforce that boundary by saying, this information is sensitive, it's just the four of us who are authorized to know this.
Or if you're planning a family outing where only certain members are invited.
You might say, I told the kids we're leaving them home tonight. This vacation is just the 8 of us adults.
This construction clearly limits the
It transforms a meeting into a special, exclusive gathering.
Our next phrase builds on that idea of exclusivity. All to ourselves, the man said. I thought we could have a quiet evening all to ourselves.
To have something all to ourselves means having complete, uninterrupted access to a space or time or a resource without having to share it with anyone else.
It's the ultimate expression of privacy and possession.
And this phrase is incredibly useful, and it's easily adaptable just by changing the pronoun that comes before ourselves.
Right, let's analyze how the context changes based on the example.
Okay, example 1, enjoying a space alone and emphasizing solitude. My roommates are out of town for the whole month, so I have the apartment all to myself.
Here, the speaker is expressing delight at the luxury of being alone, having control over the space, and not needing to accommodate others.
Right. And example 2, which often carries a slightly negative connotation of greed or unwillingness to share.
He bought a giant tub of ice cream and is sitting in the corner trying to eat the whole thing all to himself.
This usage implies possessiveness. He intends to consume the entire thing without offering any to others.
In the dating dialogue, the function is crystal clear. Having the evening all to ourselves ensures there are no friends to interrupt, no external opinions.
No distractions. It forces Jennifer to confront the man's request directly and privately, making the moment unavoidable and intense.
This is perhaps the most crucial phrase for understanding the relationship pivot. The man states, I have always seen you as more than just a friend.
I've always seen you as. It's a profound statement because it defines a long-held perception, the way you categorize or think about or consider that person.
It establishes a baseline definition that the speaker is about to challenge or redefine.
And the power of this structure is that it allows the speaker to communicate vulnerability by sharing an internal, often hidden view.
Let's look at a few different ways this internal definition can be communicated.
Okay, example 1, establishing the starting line, just like in the dialogue, I've always seen you as a close, trustworthy friend.
This defines the current stable platonic status. The addition of more than just a friend signifies the speaker's desire to move beyond that boundary.
Right. Example 2, defining a professional characteristic or role. Even when you were just an intern, I've always seen you as a future CEO of this company.
Here, the speaker is acknowledging an intrinsic quality or potential they observed early on, setting up a complement or a definition of expectations.
And example 3, defining a support role. Through all the chaos in my life, I've always seen you as my rock, the person who keeps me grounded.
This expresses the deepest level of trust and emotional reliance. In all these cases, the phrase establishes a history of internal thought that is now being made public.
And it invites the listener to accept that definition.
Our final phrase is the ultimate appeal for opportunity. Give me a shot.
The man asks Jennifer, are you willing to give me a shot?
To give someone a shot is a direct, informal idiom that means to take a chance on that person or to give them an opportunity to prove themselves.
It's an appeal for a trial period, often used when the person asking knows they're facing skepticism or doubt or strong competition.
This phrase is remarkably frequent across professional and personal boundaries.
It communicates a high degree of conviction in one's own potential, coupled with the recognition that the decision maker might be hesitant.
Jennifer, the HR manager, the coach.
Exactly. Let's analyze 2 scenarios that showcase its versatility and urgency.
Okay.
Example 1, asking for a chance to demonstrate ability, maybe against a tight deadline or a high standard. I know the initial design failed, but I completely fixed the code. I know I can do this drawing better. Just give me a shot to finish it correctly.
The speaker is requesting a brief window to demonstrate competence, appealing purely to the fairness of a trial.
And example 2, commonly used in career advancement or hiring contexts. The HR manager wasn't convinced by my resume, but I argued passionately in the interview, and he finally decided to give me a shot and hired me for a 6-month contract.
This highlights that despite initial reservations about qualifications or fit, the person received an opportunity to be included.
In the dialogue, this phrase is the culmination of the emotional buildup. The man is essentially saying, I know this risks our friendship, and I know you are confused, but my conviction is absolute.
Just grant me the opportunity to demonstrate how good we could be together.
It's a concise, high-impact plea for a relationship trial.
We have thoroughly dissected the 8 core phrases. Now, let's refine our vocabulary with a few supporting words from the dialogue.
And crucially, expand on the cultural context of dating formality, which is essential for understanding how relationships evolve in American English settings.
Right, so supporting vocabulary review.
To achieve maximum comprehension, we must look at a few additional high-frequency words used in the script and our examples.
First, pros and cons.
The speaker said, I know the pros and cons of your personality. This phrase just refers to the advantages, the pros, and the disadvantages, the cons, of a person or a situation.
It implies a balanced, comprehensive assessment of both the good and the bad.
Right, like when buying a house, you must weigh the pros and cons of the neighborhood.
Next, reservation. The man made a dinner reservation.
And this is just the act of securing something, usually a table at a restaurant, a ticket for an event, or a hotel room in advance.
It ensures that the item or space is held exclusively for you. For instance, if we don't make a reservation soon, we won't get a table for New Year's Eve.
We also heard that versatile and conversational question, what do you say?
The man used this to prompt Jennifer's final response. So what do you say? Are you willing to give me a shot?
This phrase is the standard informal way to ask someone's opinion or invite them to agree with a plan or a proposal.
It is a gentle but direct way to ask for a definitive decision. For example, the weather is perfect today. Let's skip work and drive down to the coast instead. What do you say?
It smoothly transitions the conversational focus onto the listener, compelling them to make a choice.
And finally, let's quickly define intimate.
We mentioned that the scenario was designed to be intimate. Intimate describes a relationship that is very close, warm, friendly, and private.
Implying a deep level of familiarity and shared history. An intimate dinner is one that is private and focuses on deep conversation.
Okay, now we tackle the most complex part of social English, the cultural rules of engagement.
In our dialogue, the man essentially asked Jennifer to become his girlfriend, even though he used the phrasing, give me a shot.
This leads to a critical cultural observation for learners. In modern English-speaking adult culture, formally asking, will you be my boyfriend, or will you be my girlfriend, is, well, it's quite rare.
Yeah, it's often perceived as a tradition belonging to younger people, maybe teenagers or those just starting to date.
So if the formal proposal isn't the norm, then how exactly does one know they are in a relationship?
And the answer, as we noted, is that relationships usually, they sort of happen naturally. They evolve organically without a single official spoken starting point.
And this evolution can be confusing for non-native speakers who might expect a clear definition. The transition is marked instead by a series of unspoken social cues and gradual shifts in behavior.
Let's explore those shifts. The first major shift is exclusivity.
This is often the first verbal confirmation. Instead of asking, will you be my girlfriend, a person might ask, are we seeing other people?
Or, are we exclusive now? A positive answer to those questions often constitutes the relationship's starting point, but it still avoids the title.
Another major shift is integration into social circles.
Once two people are seriously dating, they begin to introduce each other not just as a friend or someone I'm seeing,
but as my partner or my significant other to family and core friends. This public naming acts as a nonverbal confirmation of the committed status.
We also see the shift in digital and physical presence.
Things like leaving clothes at each other's apartment, having a drawer for their things.
And changes on social media, tagging each other in relationship-focused posts, or even changing a relationship status if they're very traditional.
These small, ongoing actions replace that singular, formal question.
The modern conversation is often referred to as DTR, which stands for define the relationship.
Right. This is the serious, necessary conversation that comes weeks or months into a casual dating period where one person finally says, Where are we going with this?
That's right. The DTR conversation is the functional replacement for the old formal proposal. In our dialogue, the man was essentially forcing a DTR conversation by saying, I can't take being just friends anymore.
He was forcing the definition to change.
And this brings us back to history. As you mentioned, 20 or 30 years ago, that formality was common. And the key phrase then was going steady.
Going steady. It sounds quaint now, doesn't it? But that phrase carried significant social weight.
It really did. If you ask someone, will you go steady with me? You are asking them to enter a stable, exclusive, and publicly acknowledged couple status.
It was a formal contract. Today, we achieve that same status through the cumulative effect of exclusivity, social integration, and the occasional DTR conversation.
The language has become less formal, but the need to define the status remains paramount.
To ensure our listeners have a complete toolkit for discussing dating in English, let's review 4 essential action phrases that cover the entire trajectory of a relationship.
From first meeting to deep intimacy.
First, the initial move, ask out. This action means to invite someone to join you on a date, specifically with romantic or sexual interest in mind.
So if you ask your colleague out for coffee, you are signaling that you want to move beyond the professional boundary.
Second, the current status, going out. This phrase indicates that you are currently dating someone exclusively.
It's the common, casual way to confirm a relationship status. For example, I hear Sarah and Tom are going out now. They started dating last month.
Third, the informal transition, get with. This is a highly informal phrase, often used by younger people, describing the initial action of becoming someone's boyfriend or girlfriend.
Or just starting to date them seriously. For instance, I heard Maria and David got with each other at the graduation party. It signifies the initiation of the coupling.
And finally, a common action once the relationship is established, make out.
This is an informal, widely used phrase for passionate or extended kissing. It's a vital piece of informal vocabulary to know when discussing dating or romantic situations.
These 4 phrases, ask out, going out, get with, and make out, provide the necessary vocabulary for discussing the initiation, status, and physical elements of modern relationships in American English.
This has been an incredibly insightful deep dive into the language we use when the stakes are highest, when we risk friendship for love. We successfully analyzed the core emotional vocabulary that drives serious conversations, the structural honesty of, here is the thing.
The justified finality of, I can't take it anymore.
The shock of, are you serious? And the vulnerable plea of, give me a shot.
And we also unpacked the essential situational context phrases that define privacy and expectation.
My final thought for you, our dedicated learner, is to recognize the true function of this language.
These phrases are powerful tools for managing social risk. They're used naturally by native speakers because they concisely communicate complex emotional states.
So focus on applying them in context. Practice articulating your limits, your needs, and your willingness to take a chance.
That is how your English will sound truly authentic.
That is stellar advice. Now, let's leave you with one final provocative thought, building directly on our discussion about dating culture and the history of going steady.
Okay.
We talk about how modern relationships often just happen through organic transitions rather than formal proposals. We want you to compare this to your own culture.
What are the definitive, recognized rules for starting a new relationship in your country?
Is there a formal question that must be asked? Or does it also rely on subtle social cues and the slow, shared definition of the relationship?
We encourage you to share your stories and comments below and tell us which of these powerful phrases stood out to you most in today's deep dive.
And please remember to like, subscribe, and share the Native Ear channel with your family and friends.
We are committed to making your English sound natural, and subscribing ensures you never miss a lesson.
Thank you for joining us as we explored the language of deep confession and connection.
Until the next deep dive, goodbye.